Sark, Arch obviously showed a lot of emotion tonight. How important is that for his own personal mental state as he goes through a game to play with that emotion? And how much did you see out of him this week playing with that type of emotion?
Yeah, no, I always say this about Arch. There's a lot more personality in there than sometimes everyone gets to see. I always feel like he's a little bit at his best when that emotion kind of comes out some. I think there was a lot built up in there, obviously from last week that he needed to get out. But inevitably, I think the guys feed off of that from him, and it's one of his strengths. And he's a very cerebral guy in his approach and in his preparation. But at his core, I think when he plays a little looser, a little bit more free, that's the best version of Arch. That's when he's really at his best. And it's a fine line because we want him to prepare. We want him to stay within the confines of the offense. But at the same token, when he's cutting it loose and playing, I sometimes feel like that's when he's really at his best. And so I always remind him, sometimes I think he's got a little more of his grandpa in him than maybe his uncles at times, because that style of play for him is his style. He doesn't have to try to be somebody else. And we try to play to his strengths today and utilize his legs in the low red, took our shots down the field. He got the ball out of his hands. And so all in all, it was a good game for him. But to me, it was a good week for him. The build up to the game was reminiscent of the way he practiced. And so that's the goal, right? When you practice really well, take in practice to the game and you have some success.